I'm 99.99% sure my 35 male wife, 33 female, of 14 years has been cheating on me for years. I'm completely broken and at a loss for what to do. I, 35 male, think that my wife, 33 female, is cheating on me and has been for many years. We've been together for 14 years, been married for almost 10 years, and we have a 5-year-old daughter together. Incident number 1. When my wife and I were in college, where we first started dating, we had an incident where she had some really sexually graphic text from a guy we both knew from school. She even had classes with him. I confronted her about the text. I definitely did not handle it well, and basically accused her straight out of the gate as cheating on me without realizing there were some possible outs for her. One of those outs was that she claimed that they were just some pervy text that she had got from this guy out of the blue, and that if I had paid any attention when I was snooping through her phone, that she hadn't actually responded to them. At the time, I conceded that I may have overlooked that possibility, and I had overreacted. She apologized to me for not mentioning to me that some guy was hitting on her like that, and I apologized for overreacting and for snooping. We moved on from there. Incident number 2. Fast forward to this last year, my daughter, wife, and I are at the gas station. I can tell my wife is kind of distant and detached from the interactions my daughter and I are having. I notice she's glued to her phone as well. The gas fill for our car is on the passenger side, and I have the rear passenger door open so I can tickle my daughter while I wait for the car to fill up. I'm really suspicious of what my wife is doing at this point. Just randomly? I'm gonna red flag at that point. So I decide that I'm going to take a look over my wife's shoulder from the back seat at what it is she's so caught up in. Turns out she is actively, in the moment, sexting some guy. Oh, never mind, that red flag was warranted. Like words, descriptions, acts that very much seem like they've been doing this for a while, texting, and looking back with 2020 hindsight, I'm fairly certain they had been effing as well. Also, all that shit she was texting was super graphic stuff that she never used with me, either in dirty talk or when we got intimate. And I know this next admission is pathetic and that it shouldn't matter more than anything else, but the fact that she wanted to share in these acts with this man instead of me really effing hurts. Probably just my pride talking, but it is what it is. So fast forward 10 minutes when we get home and I have to suffer through smiling during dinner and the whole nighttime ritual of getting our daughter to bed so as to not cause a scene by blowing up at my wife for what I had seen her texting. Honestly, that was probably a blessing because it allowed me to collect my thoughts before confronting her. I ended up telling my wife what I saw at the gas station, and right off the bat she tries to play dumb. What are you talking about? Honey, you're not making sense. I told her not to play dumb with me, and I recited some of the text that I could remember back to her to prove what I saw. She then goes on to admit that it was a mistake, but that it was 100% nothing physical and that she was really, really sorry. She admitted that the guy was a work colleague. We talked a lot that night about why she felt she needed to be doing that. A lot of it boiled down to her feeling depressed and lonely. We talked about strategies that we could invoke at home, things that we both could change to help mend the rift. I guess things felt kind of okay after that, but it felt like the damage to our trust was already done. And I don't think I've ever really recovered. Even that seemingly small amount of infidelity, assuming that was only text, was just such an effing hammer to my heart. Ever since that incident from last year, I've been waking up every day as a lesser person of my former self. My emotions and propensity to feel anything have been severely muted. Interacting with my daughter is about the only thing that gets me back close to a baseline of how I remember my former self. But beyond those precious moments, I'm just a walking grayed out zombie that puts on a good face for pretty much everything in my day-to-day. Going to work, interacting with my wife, etc. There's another incident to read here, but before we do that, what are your thoughts so far, Tater Rooney?
Sexting some guy in the car with your husband and daughter is... What the f***? What are you doing? I'm like, the whole time, I'm just like... It just gets worse and worse.
But what about how...
Clearly likes to sext people with the one she got in college, and now this guy.
Theme at this point. She is like the master of the one-hit gaslight. You know what I mean? Like, she says one thing, and he's like, oh, well, yeah.
And he assumed they were more than just, like, texting. He assumed it was physical, and now he's, like, believing that it's not. I don't know. I think he probably loves her, loves his life, doesn't want it to change, and it's easier to just accept what they say than it is to dive into this and actually dissect your entire life and reconstruct it and all of that. So until he has, like, I mean, I don't know what more evidence you need than seeing the person you love send those texts to someone else. And he said it was his pride talking. I'm like, that's not your pride. That's hurt. That's your heart. That's your love that you have for the person who's supposed to be your wife.
That was your backbone trying to reach your brain.
Like, ugh. So now we're going to read the most recent incident.
Before, and just one thing before we dive into that. the fact that he busted her doing this, she gaslit him completely and was like, oh, you're not making sense. You must be crazy. He recited enough of the text for her to realize she was busted, and she immediately says, oh, but trust me,
that shit
nothing
just
physical happened.
Pisses me off.
And he says, okay, she lied to you one breath ago. Most recent incident number 3. Now, fast forward to yesterday. My wife has been gone on a week-long work trip to the East Coast. We are West Coast. I actually had zero suspicions of or justifiable reasons to be worried for this trip because things have been going pretty well between us and she hadn't really given off any indicators of suspicious behavior. You mean she's gotten better at hiding it. Cool. But my first clue was that when she arrived at her destination, she couldn't get the Wi-Fi working for FaceTime. And this stayed true for the entirety of her trip. First of all, FaceTime works on cellular data just fine, which we have a ridiculous amount of. I explained that to her without much of a response. Second, I know that if I were gone for a week from my family, it would be the biggest effing priority to get FaceTime up and running so that I could see my family's faces every time I called to visit, which would be every single night. Which brings me to the next point. She called us in the evening to say goodnight maybe 2 times out of the 7 days that she was gone. Based on previous trips that she's had, this was really strange. Normally, she is like clockwork, touching in with us to share her day and to hear from us about our day. And again, always on FaceTime. I asked her about that, and she claimed that she was just too tired in the evenings to get back to us, so I bet she was. Also in the past, if she was away from me or home, she would always text me good night and that she loved me, even if we had previously chatted moments earlier on FaceTime or via phone call. For this recent trip, she never texted me once. So, when she got back, my radar was on high alert. Now, I don't feel good about this next part, but when she went to sleep that night, I checked her travel bag to see if my suspicions were correct. Sure enough, to my surprise, she keeps this little red book as her diary in her work bag. I open it up and there's a date marked 2/9/15. Turns out she had started writing a poem on that day about our daughter who had just been born the previous fall. Okay, that's really sweet, I say to myself, and I start to feel bad about my snooping. Flip to the next page and there's a new entry. There's no date, but it's written sequentially right after the aforementioned poem, so I know what I describe here as an entry that came up after our daughter was born. That non-dated entry starts off with her describing how much she longs for this specific person, doesn't give his name. She goes on to talk about how she can't stop thinking about him. Every man she sees reminds her of him. She talks about how she never really intended for things to go very far, but that one night that started in the bar and ended up going upstairs just felt too right to not be something meaningful. She goes on to say that she doesn't feel bad about making that decision in regard to how much it impacts her other life. She describes how she thinks maybe her other life was the mistake. This goes on for pages. That entry ends with her making peace with herself that he moved on from her and that it was time for her to forget about him. I'm assuming that her other life was our daughter and me. There was only one more entry after that previous one. I took pictures of it and have typed it out here in its entirety. I'm laughing to myself because, this is the entry by the way, I'm laughing to myself because I haven't opened this book in over 2 years and here I am sitting in his bed, in his room at his home, still feeling angst over so many of the same things. I'll go home after having a week with him and I'll be asking the same questions. Is he ever going to call again after? Was it so stupid to go on this trip? So funny how I thought we'd never speak again and look where I am. We worked together, we talked almost every other day and he was there for me as a friend. Now here I am. I'm back with questions. Why were we so hot and cold those first couple of days and then just tapered off? Maybe he's doing that moral compass wrestling and after I leave, we'll never speak again. The trip was probably a bad idea, but we had a lot of fun and he did say he'd been looking forward to it. He missed me. He wanted this. I know that. I wish he would just tell me he wants me, just me and always me. It's like we dance around things because he still wants to have this thing happening despite the rest of my life and I just don't want to talk about that to the point that I'm lying and I hate lying to him. But meanwhile, every tender moment I have with him is so precious I can't believe it. I couldn't imagine we'd actually be snuggling on the couch and there we were. I haven't slept since reading that last full entry. I haven't confronted her yet either. It's been almost 48 hours now without sleep and I'm just an emotional wreck. I just don't know how to handle the situation. I guess I've gotten so good at wearing this zombie mask ever since incident number 2 happened that I've been able to limp through the last couple of days, but it's getting really hard to be around her. I hopped online and read some guides on how to deal with infidelity and most of the guides mention therapy, so I'm gonna go look into that tomorrow. Just filing for divorce isn't so simple. My wife has a serious seizure disorder that is uncontrolled. She can't tell when they're happening, so that puts herself and possibly others, small kids especially, our daughter to be exact, in danger. I mention this as it pertains to custody. Imagine she's making dinner for her and my daughter one evening and has a seizure near the stovetop and the house catches on fire. Well, the only adult in the house is lying on the floor, unconscious. Or what if my daughter has a medical emergency, but then my wife has a seizure due to the stress of the situation? These are very real possibilities, ones that I fear could happen if she got custody in any way. Some of those examples aren't aren't too far off from other real-life incidents we've had over the years due to her seizure disorder. She obviously can't drive. Would this factor into custody dispute? I mean, our daughter is starting kindergarten in a month. How could my wife transport her? I don't know what I'm looking for with this whole rambling post. Maybe just reassurance that her gaslighting isn't working, that what I've described isn't the workings of an overly paranoid mind. I feel like one minute I'm ready to file for divorce, and the next I want to try to salvage this for the sake of our daughter, or just to avoid the awful mess that will be made of all three of our lives if we end up separated. Here's some other logistical details that seem important for anyone who's managed to read this far. We own the house together, have a mortgage. I make about deleted per year. She makes about deleted per year. All right. Well, thanks. We have significant investments that we have joint control over that were given to us by her dad. They total somewhat in the range of deleted in stocks and bonds. I'm on wonderful terms with her parents and her family in general. I've always been that son-in-law that was there for everyone to lend help, no matter how small or large. All of her immediate family is right here where we live. I have zero family support from my side where we live. My nearest friend is 1.5 hours away. Thanks for any help in advance. All right, there's an edit update.
I think that his trust was dinged in college with the text. And when that happens, when you no longer truly trust the person that you're with, it's always in the back of your mind. Will they or won't they? When will they do this? And it unintentionally turns you into someone that you are not. And so this man has been literally changed unknowingly, both of them. And so it's made him hold on tighter, which in turn makes this serial cheater more of a cheater. I mean, that's what she is. The texts in college weren't a random thing.
Right.
That was cheating. And I think she's done it many times since then. Maybe she likes the high she gets from it. Maybe whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. But you have this person who doesn't trust her, but loves her and wants the relationship to work. And you have a serial cheater who's taking advantage of that. So
I think where we're at right now is I don't think he loves her. I think he loves his daughter so much that even the pain of the mess that they would go through, he's only thinking about what it would do to their daughter. Update time. I left work today in order to start lining things up. I have a lawyer lined up for this Friday. That's the earliest I could find in my area. It's just a consultation, so I'm not sure what to expect from that one meeting alone. Thanks everybody for all your pearls and especially your daggers. I definitely needed some other perspectives. I know it seems unbelievable that I could go this long, but I've been seriously gaslit for years now, just conditioned to it. It's also a character flaw of mine that to want to see the best in people. I'm just so effing scared of the unexpected. GD. I just hope she admits to it. Is there any way she can twist this around on me, like invasion of privacy? We are a Washington state, so I can't record my confronting her without consent. Relevant comments from OP. It's straight up building a case at this point. It's not about love. It's not about the relationship anymore. It's literally just building a case. Relevant comments from OP. Marriage duration. My brain has been mush this week, and I wasn't thinking straight with the math. It didn't seem that important, so I didn't really edit it out. 35, 33, married for 8, been together for 14, though. That part's right. Are you planning to do a paternity test for your daughter as well as an STD check? OP says, of all the things I'm stressed and freaking out about, that actually is not one of them. My daughter could not be a more perfect spitting image of me. It's kind of crazy, actually. Even if she wasn't mine, I'd fight tooth and nail for her because she's still my kid, blood or not. And yeah, I'm gonna get an STD test. Question, do you have proof of infidelity? Response, how much proof is this though? This is one thing that's gnawing at me. The first incident happened 13 years ago. The second incident is just he said, she said. And the latest incident, she can just make up any excuse that she wants. That's not my handwriting. Oh, I was just writing a short story or novel, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, I took pictures of the writings and book, but seriously, what good is it? Her seizures are a non-issue. I definitely get and accept all the bashing, but I don't think some people are realizing how my psyche has been shaped over all these years. She's had this horrible disability her whole life, and it's played a major role in our relationship for both better and worse. It's hard for me to just tone down that provider part of me that's been my life for these last many years. And next update 4 days later. Last update for a while. Thanks to all of you for your support. I can't even express how wonderful all of your advice and kind words have been. I'm having a hard time getting back to all of you as this kind of blew up, so I'm just going to have to stop for now. I'll post another thread with an update as needed. Take care. I met with my lawyer this morning and she was great. She gave me a lot of confidence that I felt was draining away from me throughout the week as I waited to confront. I also had a good friend that was my rock throughout the week, and I will never be able to thank him enough. I ended up confronting my wife right after the meeting with the lawyer. I refused to give up any of my evidence. I I just said, I know about the other guy. I need you to talk about it. I just kept repeating that line while she went through crocodile tears and confusion about what I was talking about. It was so effing hard not to give up any of that information, but I knew I had all the power in that situation. In the end, she never confessed. I basically moved the conversation from there by saying, well, it doesn't matter if you admit to what I already know or not, because the sexting that you did last year was enough to destroy any trust I had in you, and I can no longer live like this. From there, she just kind of shut down and became pretty docile and never brought back up this outrageous thing I was falsely accusing her of. We pretty quickly moved into business-like details about what to do in the short term. Her dad came over and picked her up and gave me a hug and said, let us know if you need anything. I teared up right at that moment. I'm not letting my guard down yet because anything can happen, but I think things may work out for the better for everyone involved. I cannot thank everyone here on Reddit enough for your thoughts, jabs, pearls of wisdom, some funny comments. Y'all gave me some serious wake-up calls and support, and I am forever in your debt. All right, final update 4 months later. Just wanted to fill people in here with where I'm at with everything. Things are actually pretty good right now. We obviously separated after I confronted her. She still hasn't admitted to anything. We sold the house, and now I've got an apartment with my daughter. More about custody later. I'm actually having a blast making this space my own, and it's nice having my own time to myself again. I do have to say that I thought the loneliness would fade a bit faster, but the feelings of desperation and not knowing what to do with myself are still pretty sharp. I've started working out a lot, and I've also gotten back into writing and recording music again, which I haven't done in years. As far as my ex goes, I decided to keep things as amicable as I could for my daughter's sake, and I think it's the single best decision I've made throughout all of this bullshit. By allowing myself to feel all of the emotions I needed to feel before confronting her, I was able to keep rational and calm throughout all of this, and it's really made all of the difference. I can't imagine how awful things would have been on an emotional, legal, and custodial level had I just blown everything up when I confronted her. I confided in a few close friends about the truth of the situation just because I needed someone to talk to about all of the BS to make sure I was acting accordingly. But beyond that, no other family knows the situation. To everyone else, we just separated for amicable reasons. Her mom in particular is taking things pretty hard. I feel bad for her. She's struggling to understand what happened, but that's on my ex to tell her, not me. Wow.
Good for you.
That's very big of you. For custody, while we wait for the divorce to finalize, is that I get my daughter Monday through Friday since I'm the only one that can drive her to school. My ex gets her Saturday through Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. My ex's seizures are predominantly in the evening, and it's just not safe for our daughter to be there with her on her own, at least not until she's older. We're going to work that out and get those details in writing at some point here. This sounds like an agreement that they made together, which bravo to both of you for coming to an agreement that is safe. Anyway, I'm feeling about 60% good and about 40% freak the F out now that I'm on my own. At 36, I have no idea how to approach the dating scene, and my confidence is a bit shot to hell right now. I mean, FFS, I haven't given serious consideration to another woman in over 14 years, so probably just gonna wait for 3 or 4 months while I get to know myself again, get in better shape, and then see how I feel after that. Not going to try to put too much pressure on myself to find someone again. To anyone else who has questions, I'll try to answer them. Thanks again for all of your support. I can honestly say that this wouldn't have turned out as well as it did without all of your help. Take care. A bonus post 2 years later, introducing new partner to my 7-year-old. I, 37 male, am looking for some advice and tips on introducing my partner, 36 female, to my daughter, 7. All 3 of us are active people, and I want to pick a neutral space for them to meet. I was thinking a visit to the zoo might be fun. Just looking to feel out if there are any common mistakes or pitfalls I could avoid here. Thank you. Wow. So Opie is like, I need to come back to my people because I have questions. About something brand new there. And I started getting concerned for a second when Opie was like, I don't know how I'm going to approach the dating scene. I'm like, the dating scene is the last thing you need to be thinking about right now. Like, you have an opportunity to rediscover yourself. Like, get happy with that. And the rest will work itself out here. But that's exactly what happened. And it sounds like.
I see a question that says he cheated and he still gets to see his child. No, she cheated, not him. He found her cheating.
But cheating rarely has anything to do with
I don't think
ability to see your child.
Yeah, morally wrong if you're married in a relationship, but I don't think it has any impact on being allowed to see your child.
Yeah. Okay, so so to OP's question here, introducing someone new to your kid after you've been separated or the beginnings of what could be somebody new when you have an established child here, and I think take it slow. You know what I mean? Like just make it as chill and no pressure as possible, and let them get to know each other as people before presenting them as their new mom.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like no pressure, legitimately no pressure. Let them get to know each other as people.
I agree. And I'm happy that he was able to rebuild his life and come out the other side and find himself again, and hopefully find someone that he can be happy with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone said, advice I was given was once you've decided to leave, don't confront your spouse. Yeah. I think once you've made the decision,
It's over.
yeah.
Right?
I don't know that you go back from them
It's done. It's done.
or go back from that, not them.
Yes. I knew what you meant.
Okay.
I speak candy.